Escape from Tarkov is an amazing game, and now with the Point 14 update, it's the best thing to start playing the game or coming back. But nothing is perfect, and Tarkov is far from it. Many issues still plague the game to this day. Some are new, while others have been in the game for years. Hello and welcome, fellow virgins. It is I, Super Virgin here, and today I'll be talking about Tarkov having some major issues. I myself have been playing Tarkov all the way back since 2017 when I first bought it, but back then the game was still very bare bones, and seeing as I was the only one in my friend group actually playing the game, I barely got an hour or two into it and gave up entirely, only to then go back to it 2 years later in 2019 when my friends did decide to buy the game, and ever since then I've been hooked on this genre-defining extract shooter. With that, Tarkov is also my most played game ever, going above 1,000 hours of playtime, which I believe is more than enough time to understand how the game works and what its highs and lows are. So let's start with the highs first, and as stated just now in the intro, Tarkov is as good as it's ever been with the Point 14 update. A lot of different changes came with this update. One most notable by the community is the recoil changes they've made. Back in the day, Tarkov had more visual recoil than it had actual recoil. Now, what does this actually mean? Well, let me try to explain it. In other games, when you shot your gun or you sprayed your weapon, you would have your character going up. Your gun would stay fairly in the middle of your screen. Maybe sometimes horizontally it would change. But with Tarkov, this would be a whole different system. It would have more visual recoil, meaning the gun itself would go up, but your screen would stay in the same place, or at least somewhat the same place. What this meant was you only had about a fourth of your screen to use when you would spray your gun, and you wouldn't know exactly where you were spraying. It was more like a spray and pray in most occasions. So spraying was pretty bad, and this changed the game a lot when these changes were made. The visual recoil is now way less for a majority of the guns, and you actually are able to spray a gun now. So this change has definitely hit the game pretty hard, but in a very good way. It's a very, very positive change and has made the game 10 times more fun to play and to actually have these encounters in these fights with other players and AI. The community is also blossoming. I mean, a lot of different people are coming to the game, and I think we have Tarkov Arena definitely to thank for that. It's a very easy thing to use when you're not really used to the hardcoreness of Tarkov itself, but you can still kind of get used to the gunplay, the way that encounters work, running around, inertia, this and that, all these different mechanics you actually do get to use. It's only the looting and the extracting itself that kind of gets removed when it comes to Arena, but it's definitely something fun, despite the fact that it also has some glaring issues, but we're not talking about Arena today. It's made me come back, actually. I originally downloaded Arena this wipe before I even downloaded the game again, played Arena a couple of matches and realized just how much more fun the game was, and so I decided to start playing this game again. Like I said, I stopped playing it because Tarkov got kind of boring after more than 1,000 hours. Another very major change in Point 14 is the armor changes they've made. Throughout the game, you had about 6 armor levels, and ammo had certain penetration levels. I'm not going to go exactly into details, but just to give you a bit of an idea if you don't really understand it that well, if you had level 4 armor, it meant that any bullet above 40 or above armor pen would actually be able to shoot through said armor. Depending on if it got lower, those chances would also drop down. A bullet with 20 pen was never going to get through a level 4 armor, but a bullet with 36 might actually have a decent shot at doing it if you're able to spray with the weapon you're using. The other way around, a bullet with 50 pen is of course going to go through level 4 with ease, and in 99% of the time it's just going to go through that armor and it's not going to be any issue. Now armor actually has armor plates, and these plates actually do seem to be stronger than the armor itself underneath it. I don't know if this is an intended thing or if it's a bug. We never know with BSG, honestly. Their communication sometimes gets a bit destroyed, being as most of them only speak Russian. So it's, Nikita, the main developer, has some bad English. So sometimes these translations get fucked a bit. In most occasions nowadays, a plate does get penetrated, but there's armor underneath it as well. So when the plate gets penetrated, the pen value of said bullet goes down quite a bit. Most armors have level 2 armor underneath whatever plate you have. Some have level 3, but in most occasions you're going to have to go through level 4 or 5, depending if there's good armor, or level 3, and then after that a level 2. So for most bullets, this means penetration is a lot less likely, so you need to shoot more in the general area of the face. I do actually enjoy this a lot more that these changes have been added. The time to kill has gotten a bit longer for certain fights, and that is definitely a positive upgrade. I thought most occasions back in the day you would have a fight where someone with barely any armor, barely any loot could, place 2 or 3 well-placed shots because they had a good bullet, and it was done. The fight was over. You had nothing to do against it. And while I do understand that that is realistic, you also do have to understand that we're still playing a game. If I wanted a real-life army shooter, I'd join the army, and I don't want to join the army. There are many other different changes throughout this patch. I think vaulting was added. I think they added an expansion for streets, which I'll be talking about later. But these 2 changes are definitely the most notable when you've played the game as much as I have. And they're also really positive, honestly. These are absolute game-changing things that are done so well. They still have their issues to be fleshed out, but still very, very good. Then also the devs do listen to the community. So I did state that there's a bit of a communications issue, but still the community is being listened to. For instance, there's a certain quest in the game where you had to get Zabrala armor, I think it was called, Z6B43. It was a certain armor, it was a level 6 armor, and the only times you would be able to get it is, 1, you'd have to hit a very, very unlikely chance of finding out on a certain raider, which is a certain AI enemy. And the other options you'd have were, well, 1 you'd get from a pretty mid game quest, which is the Punisher Part 1 or Part 2. And then the next time you're able to get that armor consistently is on a quest when you hit level 50. That is very late game. To give you a bit of an idea and put it more up to scale, when this wipe came out and I started playing again, I played it consistently for about 3 weeks. I didn't have a lot to do throughout those 3 weeks, so for the majority of the day, I would be playing Tarkov for hours on end. And then after those 3 weeks, I've been playing from time to time. I've had other stuff, school and working on videos like this and stuff like it. I have only hit level 38, I think, almost level 39. And so, I haven't even hit level 40, and we still have 10 levels to go. The game works in such a way where you need more and more XP per level, so it takes longer to go from 40 to 41 than it takes from 39 to go to 40. So this is definitely something that's going to take a lot of time. They have changed this quest, and it's now very easy to get this quest done. So, they're listening to the community. But now what the video is really about. The major issues Tarkov still has. First and foremost, an issue BSG can't really do much about. They can try to fight it, but it's very, very prominent this wipe, is cheaters. Every FPS these days is plagued with cheaters. There's going to be cheaters every single match you play or stuff like it, but this time around, they're just extremely blatant about it. Back before 0.14 as a wipe, with the hours I got, maybe could count on one hand the amount of times I've seen someone like blatantly cheating, like blatantly just sprinting around, bam, bam, you're instantly dead, trying to shoot you through walls, stuff like that. Now I think it's doubled in this wipe. People are blatantly just trying to kill you through walls, one-shotting you, always knowing exactly where you are, even though you make literally no noise. You're just standing there in a corner where nobody ever stands. They instantly one-tap you because they know you're there. It's really crazy. And sometimes next to blatant cheaters, there's also just like other different cheats. You also have people tanking their KD, going to factory and then just letting themselves die, or using a script to just run the game and do these factory runs while they're just running around and dying to stuff, so that when they come back after hours, their KD is like not even 1, what am I saying, like 0.1, and then they can start playing again and just kill a bunch of people, and it's very unlikely their KD will be a defining factor as to why they would be cheating, or why they would be noticeable in cheating. There's then of course another cheat that's recently added, which is like a vacuum cheater. So people just literally go around the entire map and just they let like a script run where it just grabs all the valuable loot. Now I don't know how this is not so easy to track, since there's literally for every player in the match a certain text getting printed off with the name of the person doing this. So like this person should be seen as a cheater instantly, unless there's some weird situation where this also happens, where this certain message gets put in there in the game, in its files. I don't know how this exactly works, but honestly, this is a cheat they should be able to find very, very easy. Now, BSG has been trying to fight this by limiting the amount of stuff you can drop out of your inventory. But that's, of course, raised another issue where you can get banned for dropping your buddy's loot. Let's say, for instance, your buddy wants a kit and you're 10 levels higher than him, so you can get better stuff. So you start dropping him an entire armor kit, but you did this a few times, and in exchange, he drops you money, and it's just a normal thing where you help each other out. All of a sudden you get banned because they think you're a cheater that's been giving loot to people or been doing real money trades for this stuff. It's just helping each other out. This cripples the game, because for like the majority of players, helping each other out is also kind of part of the game, right? You want to do quests together, you want to help someone out, you want to fight. Like the amount of times I've found items that I no longer need is insane. A friend of mine found 2 or 3 LEDXs out of nowhere. I needed one for a quest. I asked him, like it's like 1,000,000 rubles, which is a lot in game money, but I got it. In exchange, I've been giving GPUs because for some reason I find those things like they're fucking candy. So it's insane how this all works and how this could actually get you banned. Then there's another issue, which is consistency, more specifically in scavs or in AI. Anyone who's had like a good amount of time in Tarkov knows that there's always a chance that a scav with a TOS is going to shoot you cross map and he's going to one tap you with a pellet from that fucking shotgun bullet. But what I hate about that is just the actual inconsistency that comes with something like scavs. Sometimes a scav is brain dead, right? A scav sprints by you, just flips you off while you're spraying him down, something like that. They're barely fighting against you. And in the lore, I understand that these are just normal people, I'd say, or semi-normal people just grabbing guns and fighting each other and whatnot. I don't understand how one time you can have a scav that takes 10 minutes to look at you and does nothing, while another scav sees you cross map for a half a second before you even notice him, yells, and just one taps you the second after it. This does happen a lot less than before, so I do feel like they're working on it, or they've put some changes out there. Again, I haven't read all the patch notes in that little hiatus I had, but I do believe that the AI should still get like an update. Scavs are the most prominent around in your raids. You'll always find a scav every raid you go. You won't always find raiders, and you won't always find USEX or whatever other type of AIs you could find. Performance is another serious issue here, that Tarkov runs like absolute dog shit for what it looks like. And don't get me wrong, Tarkov looks good. Like it looks good. The game is a good looking game, but if I can run Red Dead Redemption 2 on a consistent frame rate, if I can run Helldivers 2 on a consistent frame rate, if I can run so many different games on consistent frame rates that look better, have more mechanics, and honestly are just bigger in size and whatever, I should be able to run this game on a consistent frame rate. I have a good PC, and for the most part, this is not a big issue, right? I don't have a lot of FPS drops or this and that, but oh my god, what the fuck is Streets of Tarkov? That map was delayed for years, I think, to then be added and be an absolute FPS eater, and now they've added an expansion to it before they added an optimization patch. Hell, they added a setting where you can put your graphics on the lowest when you're playing on that map before they try to optimize this map. What is going on? What are they doing? Make the game run better. Then traders have one giant issue that I absolutely fucking hate, which is limited stock. If this just counted for you, right? If you can only buy 50 bullets of a certain thing, which is in the game, by the way, this is in the game. It's not, it's just the other part that I hate. But if you had that, I could be okay with that. But why oh, why, when there's thousands of hundreds of thousands to maybe even I don't know how many people who play the game at the same time in the stores trying to outbuy these bullets so that you can buy them from traders. Why is this in the game? Like, why does this exist? From now, you actually do have to wait for the restock just to have a decent ammo or a certain armor. And just to go like, why? The thing is, our Tarkov is very extreme, and it has a lot, like, it requires a lot of time put into it. But I also understand for the casual gamer, this is so annoying. I don't want to have to wake up at 4 a.m. just to get the armor I like in a video game. The fuck do you think? Like, honestly, I don't have a life. Hell, my name is Super Virgin, but like, Jesus Christ, I'm not gonna fucking do that. See, the issue here, and this has been going on ever since Tarkov was made, is that the devs sometimes try to put realism where there should be a game. And they should try to understand this. They're making a realistic game. They're making a realistic game. As I've stated, I do not want to join the army. This is not something that I want to see in my game either. The quality of life of the game could use so much more if they just decided to make more of a game and less of like a realism. And then there's just another small little concern I have recently. BSG have stated that they will be adding microtransactions to the game. For now, this is only to add storage size, regardless of whatever edition you have in the game. They also removed the most expensive edition from the game, meaning that you can no longer get the highest stash size, I think, is the difference between it. But who knows what this will add in the future, right? Maybe you can buy mission completions. Maybe you can buy level ups or XP. Maybe you can actually buy money. And I personally hope that those things will not be added. Nothing too game-changing will be added when microtransactions. I understand that this game's been supported for years without asking for an extra penny, but still, I do not want this to become pay to win, because that will absolutely kill Tarkov. It will be done for. Overall, I adore Tarkov, and I'm going to be spending a lot more time in it than I've already have with the 1,000 hours I've done. But what do you think? Do you think Tarkov will only get better and the issues I'm talking about will just be remnants of the past later on and they'll all be fixed? Or do you believe that Tarkov's issues will ultimately just ended with like killing it, and maybe another game will take over? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, because I love reading your comments and I love hearing your opinions. Also, leave a like if you enjoyed the video. If you've never seen a video of mine, or you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I'm a very small channel. I understand that this might be a bit weird. For you, it's only a button click. For me, it's honestly a big different change. I would like to make my income from this and actually do make this my job. Bit of a weird confession to make in a video like this, but still, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.